Welcome back to Rad BMX Builds. This episode, I'm going to show you some of the bikes that I currently have, and we're going to go for a little ride on the beach, check out some scenery, look at some rad bikes. Enjoy the ride. All right, first bike up, a very rare 1991 GT Aggressor. They didn't make very many of these. You may not have even heard of this bike. It is a mix between a race frame and a freestyle frame. The one I have is a team model and it is about 99% original. This bike is beautiful, just about perfect. Got it from the original owner. This is a one owner bike. And it just screams 90s with these beach colors. Such a great year, such a good looking bike. And this thing rides solid with the GT high flange sealed bearing hubs, 4-piece GT handlebars, 3-piece GT cranks. Now I did have to swap out some things on this bike. It now has the GT repop tires, new chain. I threw on some flight donuts just for looks, and some pegs and fork standers. Other than that, this bike's original. Those are just some add-ons. Tires were needed. Welcome back. This one we're going to do in the garage, not out on the beach. This bike's not yet 100% ready to go, but I wanted to show it to you anyway. This is a one owner 1986 GT Performer that I completely redid. Currently it has 1987 decals, but the 86 decals have been ordered and are on the way. This bike was powder coated and completely built from the ground up. It's got Skyway wheels, GT repop tires, clearly an aftermarket chain. It does have the GT sprocket, different GT pedals. They're metal alloy instead of the plastic. A pretty rare pink Dominator seat, which I thought accented the pinks real nicely. Aftermarket fork standers. However, this has something a little unique. It has dual cable guides on the back of the forks, which from my understanding is either off of a Pro Performer or a PFT. Not commonly found on the regular Performer. Bubblegum pink grips. Has the original Odyssey brakes, as you can see. Pretty rare, getting hard to find. But this bike is in excellent shape. GT seat post, GT bars, Odyssey cranks. No scuffs, no dings, no dents, no cracks. Perfect bike. Pretty proud of this one. Rides amazing. Just waiting on them decals to come in from the UK. So tell me what you think. What do you like about this bike? Put it in the comments. What don't you like about this bike? The reason I chose the Skyway wheels is the bright whiteness of them. The OGKs were yellowed, and I could not get them white enough with this white powder coat. So I went ahead and stuck with the Skyways on there. I just thought it looked a little cleaner. And in the daylight, I think you'd understand that when you have all these bright white colors, if you throw a yellow color on there, a yellowed plastic seat or wheel, it just throws off the whole bike. I do have the original white GT seat, but again, slightly yellowed, and it was full of cracks, and I just didn't want to put that on here. So a good friend of mine had the grips, had the seat, and I went ahead and bought those from him, and I thought it would be a great bike to put them on with a few other accents to bring out the pink in it. One owner, original 1986 GT Performer, which I customized a little bit. Added a little splash of color. This looks like the perfect beach bike right out of the 80s. Eddie Fiola sat on this bike before I restored it, brought back some memories, and we had a good discussion about it. Martin has taken a look at this bike, liked it, thought it was pretty cool. So leave a comment. Tell me what you think. You think it's pretty cool? Even though it's not 100% original, that's not everyone's flavor. Some people like custom. I personally like custom. Depends on the bike. Some of them I like real OG, but this one I just love to stare at, love to look at, and I cannot wait to get the right decals on it. Up next, I have a 2001 24-inch GT Pro Series. I built this bike from the ground up, fresh powder, fresh decals, several new parts. Let's take a look at it. It's got GT grips, Tektro brakes, GT bars, newer style GT mallet stem, the GT Pro Series slash cut forks with the high flange sealed bearing A7X style wheels from GT PC pedals, GT cranks and sprocket, Tektro rear brakes, GT race seat. Honestly, this bike's one of my favorites to ride. I'm 5'8", and the 20-inch bikes are a little tight, as most of you know, but the 24-inch seems to get it done. It's a great size. 29s are a little big for me, even though I almost daily ride them. This bike right here is a great bike if you just want to get back out on an old school looking bike, even though this is a little newer, little mid-school, has that old school feel with the new school technology, which is nice. You could use a lot of the parts that are currently on the shelves at bike shops instead of having to search for them. So if you're looking for a nice 24-inch bike that basically looks brand new out of the box with 90s decals, they go really good together. This color pops in the sun. This is a cool bike right here. This bike will be for sale. I've listed it before on Instagram. You can find it there. You can message me on Instagram if you're interested in it, and this bike will be there for sale if it's not already gone by the time this video goes live. So let me know what you think about this bike. It's a fun build. I love riding it. Great bike. It gets a lot of compliments. Let's take one last look. Next up, one of my favorites for sure, the 1986 Dino Comp 2. I bought this bike as a frame and fork set that was already powder coated, and then I built it from there using a bunch of reproduction parts and a few OG parts that I can find that were in good enough shape. This bike is absolutely amazing, super rad to look at, so let's take a look. We got the Dyno UL plate with pretzel bars behind that, the Dino Comp brakes, fork standers, again the high flange with the cutout, A7X style wheels, GT tires, GT valve stem cap, white brake pads, reproduction decals, GT PC pedals, GT Power Series cranks, Got the colored chainring bolts to add a little color in there. The Dyno brake guard. GT frame standers. Odyssey seat post clamp and seat. Alright, you got Amy grips. Dyno donuts. Dino Comp Tech 77 levers. Pretzel bars, which are reproduction, not original stamped. You can tell it's an older frame. It's got the split welds on there where you can run the cable through them instead of the solid box. As you can tell, some of the older bikes from some of the newer ones that try to look like older bikes. But this bike's clean. Lots of detail. Just had someone come up to me and talk to me about it. This bike draws a lot of attention. A lot of people seem to like it. So if you want to stand out in a crowd, that bike right there might be the one to do it. Some of these old bikes bring back some memories. I've been wanting an old dyno for a long time, but it's been hard for me to find the right one at the right price. I didn't get this one at a great deal because they're so hard to come by in good shape. But I think I paid a fair price for it, and then I put a lot of money into it to build it up. This bike is also for sale. Don't think you're gonna get it too cheap though. I'm not out to gouge anybody, but I did put a lot of money into this build. I did intend on keeping this bike for the company for promotional businesses, professional purposes, but I've decided to go ahead and let this gem go. I got some other bikes I'm working on. So if you're interested in this 1986 Dino Comp 2, built from the frame up, go ahead and let me know. It's also on Instagram. That's the best way to get a hold of me. If you like what you see, make sure you send me a comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's important. One last view. Take it all in. Love this thing. This thing's awesome. Just a cool bike. Fun to ride, smooth, quiet. Brakes work great. Everything works great. All right, let's talk about this one next. This one gets a lot of positive comments. People seem to really like this bike. There's a bit of a story behind it. I built this bike for my wife. She wanted a white and gold GT Performer coin roll. This is a 1989 GT Performer with the coin roll in it. She wanted it white and gold, so I made it for her, and now she wants to go ahead and get an electric bike, so I'm gonna finish this one up. As you see it, it's not quite finished. Still a little bit of things to do on it, maybe some decals if I can find the right ones that look good. 89 decals for this bike should be the tribal decals. I do have one set of OG tribal decals, but they're going on a different build that you're not gonna see in this video. So looking for maybe some gold tribal 89 decals for it, or just something like the head tube decal in gold, and just leave it pretty simple. But there's a few little adjustments and things to be made on this bike. I'm probably gonna get rid of the cranks that are on it, which you'll see have a GT Power Series decal applied to them. These are the cranks that came with this bike. I did not do that, and I would probably swap that out. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. I do like this bike. I'm a big fan of the coin roll bikes. Probably my favorite GT Performer frame. And this thing came out quite well. You may have seen in some photos. We took this to Beverly Hills, Rodeo Drive, took some photos of it up near the Hollywood sign on Mulholland Drive, and just did some photo shoots with it. And this bike gets great reviews. People really like this bike, stands out quite well. So let's go ahead and go over it. It is powder coated, all white. It does have the GT Amy grips. It does have the GT Performer bars. It has an original face on a reproduction mallet stem, but it does have the original old school brakes. And then it has the A7X style high flange cut hubs for wheels with GT reproduction tires. I did buy some gold brake cables, old school Sun Tour style seat post clamp, GT laid back seat post. I got the white Dominator seat with the gold lettering to match, which is a little bit harder to find. Usually it's going to be the black lettering. You can see the coin roll there. Gold chain ring, white power disc. Some odd brand 3-piece crank. I'm not sure what they are. The MKS pedals. And you come back here, you got the gold wheels, the white brakes, white brake pads. And that's pretty much it for this bike. I didn't put any frame standers, fork standers, anything like that on here. I didn't even put a gyro on this bike because this was supposed to be for the wife. I didn't want to overly complicate it. And I wanted to keep it pretty simple and clean looking. A gyro is not necessary. A lot of people like them, but they are really hard to adjust to where they work really well. So if you are a fan of a gyro, you can install one quite easily. You can find them all over the place if you want them. And if and when I put this bike up for sale, if you are hard pressed on one, I can throw in an extra white gyro. I do have one. So that'll be something we can discuss. This bike is on my Instagram page. And if you are interested in it, we can have that discussion. You can buy it as is, or you can wait until I'm done doing a few little tweaks on it. I'm just not in love with the headset and a few other things like the cranks. But the cranks might stay. I'm not quite sure what other cranks I'd want to put on it right now. They do match. The sticker would probably have to go because they are not GT Power Series cranks. I don't know why that sticker's there. The previous owner put it there and maybe wanted to play it off as GT Power Series cranks, or just liked the idea of them instead of actually using them. But all in all, this is a pretty cool bike. I love the way they ride. The geometry of them is really nice. It looks amazing out on the street. But we're going to do it here in the garage because, like I said, it's not fully complete. I don't want to be riding it around until it is where I want it. But again, this bike's for sale. And if you're interested in it, Instagram's the best way to get a hold of me. If you want to wait and follow for a while on Instagram, if someone doesn't buy this bike as is, you can wait until it's completed, and then I will do a photo shoot of it and put it on Instagram, labeling it at that time for sale. So let me know what you think. Give me some comments on this bike, and let me know what you would do to it if you had to sell it. Would you sell it like this? Or would you add a gyro? Or would you change a whole bunch of stuff around and sell it completely different? I kind of like it. White and gold goes well. Wife's got good taste. What can I say? This is a 1989 GT Performer. All right, the last bike I'm going to show for this video is not quite finished. I have ordered decals for it. They are stuck in customs in Los Angeles, and I'm waiting on those custom decals to show up. I did list this bike for sale, but I'm kind of holding back on it now until the decals get here because they're already paid for. Should be here this week, or maybe the beginning of next week. I can't obviously tell what customs is going to do, so who knows when it's actually going to get here. But this bike is a Dyno VFR or NSX. They're all pretty much the same, except for parts and whatnot. But this bike, I love these frames. I love building these bikes. They're pretty awesome. You can get pretty creative with them, and they're a lot of fun to build, honestly. So this has the flat oval rear frame section, and it has the chisel cut forks, and I just love that look. So let's take a look at this bike. I had it powder coated in a neon green, and I used a bunch of black GT parts on it, which really look great. So let's get into it and take a quick look. We'll start with the back of the bike. I used Skyway wheels, GT tires, Dyno valve stem caps, Tektro brakes, got the green and chrome chain. You can see the flat oval frame. That is an aftermarket, not a GT stamped cheese grater sprocket, black cranks, black bottom bracket, and black graphite pedals. And this is a dyno seat with a black laid back seat post. These are brand new flight pads, which just came out in 21. The pads motivated me to do this color. I just thought it was a great neon color. And I used Amy grips with the neon donuts. Odyssey brake lever, black headset, and you can see the chisel cut Dyno stamped forks and the Dyno stamped Dice GT tires, brand new Skyway wheels. So that's a quick down and dirty go over of this bike. This thing is basically brand new. Honestly, I haven't even ridden this bike yet. I just got it put together. When the decals are on there, I'll go give it a ride and we'll take it out to the beach and give it a photo shoot. Under the sun, this thing is insane. It is so bright, the green. And it's not doing it a lot of justice in here in the garage, but out in the sun, this thing really pops. It is really cool. Awesome color, absolutely love it. Everything on the bike's pretty much brand new. So all your bottom brackets, headsets, bearings, wheels, tires, brakes, chains, sprocket, cranks, pedals, grips, everything's new on this bike. You're basically getting a brand new mid-90s Dyno VFR. The custom decals, I'll give you a little hint. They're going to match the bike, and that's about all I'm going to tell you. Follow the Instagram if you want to see the finished product, which hopefully by the end of next week, this thing will be done. I'll do a photo shoot and put it on Instagram for sale. So check this thing out. Pretty awesome. If you don't want to spend thousands on a bike, this might be the bike for you. You want an old school look, but want to be a little bit different, a little bit loud, a lot of loud. This is the bike. So this will be up there. This is going to be affordable. I'm not trying to gouge people and make a ton of money off this thing. I just wanted to build a cool bike and get it out to you guys and see if that's something that somebody would enjoy riding around. Super cool bike. So let me know what you think in the comments. Last but not least, this one is not for sale. I don't plan on selling it. This is my daily rider. This is a 2016 SE Big Ripper, which I have fully customized. All the parts on this bike were taken off and replaced, keeping just the frame and fork. And I think the seat, that's about it. Everything else I just got rid of, sold over the years. But this is the bike I like to ride on the beach. This bike is not for everybody. No, I do not ride wheelies. I don't ride in traffic. I'm not one of those people, but I like to ride up and down the boardwalk on this, getting you guys B-roll and footage out there on the beach. This is the bike I'm riding because it just rides so easy and smooth, and I love this bike. So let's take a quick look at it. 2016 SE Big Ripper, which I have gone to town on, putting SE gold wheels and hubs, the Vans Colt camouflage tires, the Knight Bike Company seat post clamp and Knight Bike Company sprocket and power disc, SE cranks, SE pedals. I did replace the brakes with Dino Comp MX2s, more of a BMX style brake. I got rid of the Big Ripper and put PK Ripper decals on it because PK Ripper is cooler. I put landing gear decals on the forks, which are getting a little chewed up and I should probably replace. And I went ahead and put 4-piece bars on this bike and the Vans grips that are the same color, light blue. Absolutely love that. And of course, you gotta have a bell on the beach so people know you're coming up behind them and they can get out of your way. But this thing came out pretty cool. I get a lot of compliments on it, and the tires are crazy when they're rolling. Absolutely nuts. But that's my daily rider right there. I do ride a lot of the other 20-inch bikes around, but honestly, this thing's more comfortable, easier to ride, and it's a blast. This thing's super rad. So, not sure if you're into the big wheel bikes or not. I was questioning it, but once I rode it and I just ride it like a beach cruiser, it's one of the coolest beach cruisers on the boardwalk. So I'm pretty happy with it. Don't plan on selling it. It's a great bike. I mount GoPros to it and ride around. And if in the intro of the videos, you'll see this bike because I mounted a GoPro to the forks and rode it up on the pier for you. But that's about it. That was a quick down and dirty of some of the bikes I currently have here in Newport Beach. Now, I'll let a little secret out. In Phoenix, Arizona, I still have a storage unit, and that storage unit currently is full of BMX bikes. Once I get some of these sold, I'm gonna go to Phoenix, get some of those bikes and bring them back here and then start working on those. I just didn't want to store that many bikes here in Newport Beach. I'm sitting on, I don't know, 10 bikes right now in this garage, and I have to shuffle them around, move them around when I'm working on stuff. So that's enough for me. I'll sell these, and then we'll start with the next load of bikes, and then I'll start showing you what those ones are. So hey, if you want to keep building memories with me, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications. Stay rad, and we'll see you in the next video.